Hi everybody, I'm Alban.
I'm Sean.
First of all, let's say that we're really pleased to be with all of you today. Last year, together with Sean and two other friends, we created an association called A World of Football. And that shares a very particular vision of football and sport in general. And we came here to share this vision with you, to question what football truly represents, what it represents to us, but also what it represents to you.
So the question here today, is football just a game? What game can gather millions of people around stadiums around the world? What game can procure such joy, such feelings? What game can create such violence? What game can create such a patriotic feeling? What game is so universal? So is it just a game? And that's a bit the question that brought A World of Football to life. First, as four young football fans, we wanted to understand the worldwide football phenomenon around the world. And also, we didn't like the current image that our favorite sport has today in the medias. It's always corruption, sex scandal, money madness with Cristiano Ronaldo transferred for 96 million euros, violence, racism as well, and money. It's always about money. So, when you watch TV, this is how mainly football is portrayed. But we, and as many others, I hope, do not share this vision of football.
We thought to ourselves that there must be another side to the beautiful game. If we call it that way, there must be a reason. And indeed, 99% of the people who do like and play football have nothing to do with this. They do not play football because it brings them money, but just because it brings them joy and pleasure. And we wanted to get the focus back on this football, back on the roots of the game. But to do so, we needed to find a way. We needed to find a way. And to be honest, it took quite a long time because we were both a bit slow. But still, in the end, we found our way. A World of Football was set up, and we decided to start the journey around the planet to witness the worldwide passion for football. 10 documentaries had to be done, with a special focus on the kids. Because first of all, kids are probably the ones who love football the most. But second, also because football appears to be a fantastic way to talk to young people, to teach them good values in a fun and dynamic way. And in the end, for those who play football here, they will know it. Once on a football pitch, we're all big kids. Judge by yourself on the picture.
And during this amazing journey, we really discovered way more than expected. Apart from bringing joy and pleasure, football appeared really to be an extraordinary tool to tackle social issues. From Middle East to Asia, from South America to Africa to Europe, football is used in many different ways and in many different aspects, but always with the same goal, to improve the life and conditions of men, women, and children. Crazy? Crazy, yes, but actually works.
Yeah. Let me give a very concrete example. Last year, we were both with the two other friends in Israel, where we had the opportunity to cover a very unique project that brings together kids both from Israel and the Palestinian territories to play football together. During a few days, we followed the lives of Mahoma and Polyan. Mahoma, she's from Palestine. Polyan, she's from Israel. They were 13 and 14. Both had never seen a girl from the other community before. Of course, the days before the meeting, we could feel that both were a bit anxious. It's quite normal, actually. They've always been growing in an environment of fear. Their parents and grandparents have been at war for 60 years now. They only know the other community through legends, stories, hate speeches, news on TVs about the latest aggressions. At the entrance of the Palestinian village of Mahoma, we could read, "Israelis are not welcome here." On the other side, Polyan, she lives in a city a few miles away from the Gaza Strip, where at some periods, rockets are as common as snow during the Belgian winter. So those two girls, they live right in the center of one of the most persistent and complex conflicts of this time. Ask yourself the question, who wouldn't be afraid, anxious, before meeting someone from the enemy's side? But nevertheless, the two girls went on. And a very impressive moment of that journey was the arrival of Mahoma at the checkpoint of the West Bank barrier. Well, yes, she had to be checked, because that's actually what they do at the checkpoint. But, but it took such a long time. Such a long time. Soldiers came with their big guns and they controlled everything. Can you even imagine being controlled that way before playing football? But then, the contrast between the soldiers in military uniform and the big guns and Mahoma in football shirt became really striking when the only thing they could find in Mahoma's bag was a football. There was no bombs inside, just a ball.
And once on the pitch, both communities were ready to meet each other. Of course, at the beginning, they were a bit shy, a bit ashamed. Some might have been a bit aggressive as well. I don't want to play with this Jewish boy. I don't want to play with this Arab, with this terrorist. But it's quite amazing to see that as soon as you toss in the ball, as soon as they do a few exercises, a few shots, kids started to mingle up with each other, started to chat, to laugh, to smile. And there was no more question of who is the invader, who is the enemy. There were only two teams on the pitch.
Well, I do not know what this means to you. But to us, this means everything. It means that everything is possible. No matter that you live in a country that has been at war for 60 years, you as a young boy, or in this case, a young girl, are able to change all that. You are able to return the whole situation and to say, this is not how I see things. This is not my reality. Because this is exactly how it happened last year in Israel. This is how we saw kids opening their world. And thanks to football, actually, they then realized that they were not that different. And I am sure, I'm convinced, that this moment, this little perception, has changed their life for good.
And we saw similar football peace talks in Rwanda, Burundi, Moldova. But conflict pacification is not the only possible use of football as a social tool. I mean, football being accessible everywhere, it can be used by an immense variety of actors in an immense variety of situations. I mean, we even saw a football pitch on water in Thailand by fishermen.
So that's actually a really interesting point. I will ask you one question. Do you know any other social tool that is as widespread as football, that reaches as many people as football? And don't tell me the Gangnam Style movement, because it's not. Sorry, Sean, I really wanted to make that joke. He was against this joke, but
You got me on this one.
Okay. During the repetition, I never said it, so it was time to do it. But the test was okay. Thank you very much. But so seriously now, the question, do you know any other social tool that is as widespread as football? What would you say? School or education? I don't think so. Theater maybe, very good point. Arts. But effective healthcare, neither. Media campaigns, certainly not. And theater just as sport are two things, arts, sport, that gathers everybody. You don't need anything to do it. So that's the point. Every place on earth, every village on earth, even on water, has a place to play football. And this offers to the game the unique ability to communicate a positive message to everyone, to diffuse, to reach everyone actually.
Yeah, and a very concrete example of this accessibility to football was in South Africa. South Africa is a country that has a lot of history that made the country it is today. Despite some problems of racism and violence, there's another plague that strikes the country. I'm talking here about AIDS. In a country of 50 million people, 5.4 infected with HIV, so it's really one of the highest rates in the world. And often the highest rates strike in the poorest regions because people don't have access to healthcare or education. So it's very important for them to know how can it be transmitted, what is HIV, how can I protect myself from it, and what is there to be done if I do have HIV. So the documentary we did was in one of those poorest regions, in KwaZulu-Natal. There's an NGO there called WizKids United, and they've been implanted there for more than 10 years now, and have been really doing an incredible job at raising awareness through football. Thanks to the pitch that they have at the center, kids from all around the villages come and gather on that pitch. In this way, they overcome one of the biggest obstacles that fuels HIV, which is bringing HIV positive and HIV negative to the same place where there is no discrimination, where there is no stigma. And our documentary was relying on the story of Seppo. Seppo is a 15-year-old born with HIV. He told us in his own words, if WizKids did not exist, he would probably be dead by now. And as football is his passion, he goes to the center almost every day and manages to keep track of his well-being.
We saw similar attraction to football in Rio, Brazil, of course, country of football, where we shot in the favelas. Same thing. The poor is the place you go, the most needs to be done. And often there, the kids, once again, do not go to school, have no access to education, and hang out in the streets. What happens a lot of times is that those kids get involved in the drug trafficking because it's easy money for them. Easy money, yes, but there's a frightening statistics about that. 80% of the kids who get involved in the trafficking around the age of 12 do not make it till 21. So that's a pretty shocking detail, don't you think?
And the association we film is just starting, but have been really achieving incredible results. In fact, the way that they work is that they take young drug soldiers out of the traffic and try to reintegrate them into society by being a street football instructor. This has a double social impact. First, it gives a second chance to those ex-drug soldiers to reintegrate society by empowering them with responsibility and educative skills. And also, the work that is done by those ex-drug soldiers allows to keep the children of the favelas out of the gangs, out of the traffic. But again, without the attraction to football, this could have not been possible in Rio.
To illustrate the variety of issues that football can help to tackle, I shall maybe give, very shortly, one last example about gender equality, which remains a big issue in India. Everybody that watched the news in the previous weeks knows it. And this is especially the case in the region of Bihar, northeast of India, where around 75% of the girls get married before the age of 18. Nevertheless, it is in this region, in Bihar, that we had the opportunity to film a very interesting football program launched by a local hospital. This football program is devoted to girls. Each time that a girl joins the team, it will be asked to the parents to sign a contract in which it's stipulated that they won't marry their daughter before she is 21. In exchange, the hospital will assure the education of the girls to become ophthalmologic assistants. This way, together, both the hospital and the football program are offering to the girls not only a youth access to sport, but also chances for a better future.
Okay, enough with examples now. We're going to show you a little video that kind of connects all of those stories together. You might recognize some, others not. And also it shows some intense moment of our experience around the world.
Football, the sport, provides us an international language that speaks in the language of both sides.
When she plays, she don't think I play with Arab. I play.
Football's a fantastic way to engage young people. It's dynamic, it's fun, it's group work, it's teamwork.
ऐसे तो देहात का मैंने सोच अच्छा नहीं है.
Para mí representa mucho el fútbol, más que una pasión.
People breathe, people eat, and people talk all about football. So to reach certain social goals, the most important method you can use, in my opinion, is football.
We very much hope that through those few examples, those few stories, you could already feel, understand, even maybe touch in a certain way, the limitless social power of football. But before we conclude this talk, it is really important that we balance our point. Yes, football has a power. Yes, it's a power that can be used very effectively for social matters. And yes, this is what we've seen and diffused during the World Football Experience. And yes, we believe in it. But this is not the only way to make use of the power of football. Indeed, just as anything else, football has a good and a dark side of the force. Yeah. I hope you like your draw. Sean spent a lot of time on it.
A lot of time.
Well, more seriously now, football has a good and a dark side of the force. I mean, we should not forget that it is the same sport that killed around 80 people in Egypt last year, when after a game, riots occurred between fans of two opposing teams. What for a madness is that? What kind of passion can lead to such behaviors? And Egypt is certainly not an isolated case. Almost every country has witnessed similar football violence. England, Russia, Italy, Germany, even Belgium. So violence, but also corruption, scandal, racism. Those elements represent the other side of football, the dark side.
So please don't get us wrong here. We're not saying that football is going to save the world. We're not saying it's going to resolve all the conflicts, fight poverty, because it won't. We know it's not Disneyland. Actually, I'm glad it's not Disneyland because I would not stand all the singing and stuff. What I'm trying to say here is that football, sport in general, if used consciously, can have a positive impact on society. It can foster well-being, can foster education, can foster integration, and much more. But in order to do so, we need good and sustainable programs put in place and the investment of social educators and actors on the field who understands the immense power they have in their hands. This is what we have seen throughout our trip, and it works. It works fantastically. I myself, to be honest, before starting this NGO with my friends, didn't even think of football that way. And I was amazed to see what a ball and two sticks can do or create. Plus, we're in a period of time where everything is changing so fast. We're in a period of time of crisis. So if simple things such as sport can be used to better the life of people, then let it be. And today we showed you a few examples. As I'm speaking right now, of course, there's a lot more being done, but still there's a lot more that needs to be achieved.
But not many people do understand that. This is why we will conclude by addressing this message to you, the audience, of course, but also to the world football community, fans, players, and surely federations, because the day that the world of football will understand the exceptional power they have right in front of them, well then we will be able to actively diffuse those incredible messages and help tackling some of the most pressing needs of this world. So, we will ask you the question again. Is it really just a game?
Thank
you
you
very much.